This is Special Agent Jake Bartlett with Arkansas State Police. I will be speaking to Sergeant Chase Melder with Arkansas State Police at the Pope County Sheriff's Office. Time's going to be 3:13 p.m. and date is July 5th, 2023. Sergeant, we can kind of just go over just a little bit. Your rank is Sergeant. What's your area of assignment?
So I'm the sergeant over Yale County and Johnson County in Troop J.
Okay. And can you tell me how long you've been employed with Arkansas State Police?
Yeah, about 16 and a half years.
Okay. And then how long have you been in law enforcement altogether?
18 and a half.
Okay. Okay. And were you working today during the incident?
Yes,
Okay.
I was.
All right. And what's your shift?
Well, I had a meeting this morning, so I had to come out a little early.
Okay. When'd you come out?
But I checked 10:08, about 10:45.
10:45?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And if you can just start me out where you were when this, how you got involved with this incident.
Sure. Yeah. So I was I'd pulled into our Hobnob office in Russellville, our substation, DL testing facility. I was getting out of the car there to go in to work on some stuff on my computer, and I heard Trooper Clokey, Irvin Clokey, that was trying to stop an 18-wheeler. And I knew that he was in Johnson County. I didn't know which way he was going, so I had to get on the radio and ask which way he's going. He told me eastbound, and then eventually I got a mile marker, figured out that they were coming towards me. The truck wasn't stopping. It wasn't driving extremely fast at the time. It was speeding, but not extremely fast. And so, anyways, I knew it was headed towards me, so to go and assist, I started heading that way from the substation. So I drove from Hobnob to the 72 crossover there at the Pope Johnson County line. And while I was on the way there, a couple, I think a Lamar City unit, maybe a Johnson County deputy, got in their pursuit. I know it's two Johnson County units, so I'm not sure exactly which ones. But they got in the pursuit and actually got in front of the big truck just to make sure that the truck driver knew that Irvin was behind him. At least this is what's coming over the radio.
Sure.
And so it was relayed to us that he definitely knows and he's not stopping. Like they kind of tried to, I think, do a little box in there, and he wasn't. That wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
According to them, they probably would have hit him. And so they kept coming towards me. And so they're at the 72, you can see up the hill, and I saw them coming. And so I jumped out in front of the big truck and let the big truck catch up to me with my lights and stuff on. I tried to do the same thing. I tried to slow the big truck down. And with my lights on, and if I would have slowed down, he'd have hit me in the rear. Like there's no doubt. He got pretty close to me. And so at that point, I thought in my mind, we need to get some spikes set up. Like he knows we're here. He's not going to stop, And so I moved on up ahead. I actually was going to try to find somewhere to set up spikes, and had two other troopers that ended up able to get there quicker, and the Pope County deputy set up spikes. And so I just kind of stayed out in front to monitor and make sure that the guys setting up the spikes were in the right places, talk on the radio to let people know where they were and stuff, just trying to communication, because we had several different agencies, so I want to make sure that nobody got hurt doing that. And then got to Paul Meeks, who was at the 81. Paul the big truck avoided his spikes and kept going. And so we kept going up to the 83, and that's when, I don't know his rank, but McNeese did his spike strips and got his car hit, and I heard that on the radio. And for a minute I didn't know if he had gotten hit or if just his car, but eventually came over the radio and said that it was just his car, and that he thinks he got the left side of the tires on the spikes. And so at that point, I felt like we were dealing with an aggravated assault situation. I mean, the driver of the big truck obviously has no regard for life with hitting the police car and stuff like that. And so, and we really didn't have any other way to stop him. And so it keeps going. Adrian Belcher had radioed, Trooper Belcher had radioed that she was at around the 87, 88. She was at the 87 there at the overpass, and she deployed her spikes also, which were effective, but the truck still was going and wouldn't stop. And Irvin Clokey was behind it the whole time and said that he was driving more recklessly and that kind of thing. And so it kept going to going towards Atkins. So at that point, I made the decision that we needed to stop the pursuit because the guy obviously didn't care and didn't seem to care about who he hurt. We didn't have another means of stopping him other than getting up on the interstate and trying to shoot his vehicle to disable it. To be honest, I think we were justified to use deadly force at that point, but we didn't. We wanted to bring it to. We'd rather not do that, and so that's what we chose to do. With all the information that we had and needing to stop it, so Destin Linkus and I set up on the overpass at the 94 in Adkins. A couple Adkins officers shut down traffic to give us room so cars wasn't coming over the interstate. And then we were communicating with the units that were in the pursuit, making sure that there was plenty of space, in between the units, so they weren't in danger at all. Destin and I got ourselves in a position to where our rounds most likely would not affect the westbound traffic because it was still moving. So we got ourselves at an angle to make sure that they wouldn't be affected in any kind of crossfire or ricochet. Hopefully that was the plan. And the big truck come towards us. It was obvious that was the one because it had the blown out front tire. It was leaning, so we knew that it was the one. Destin and I communicated with each other, the radiator, and anyways, so it got close. It got to a point. So there's a guardrail there, and we'd already made a plan. Like, we didn't want to shoot a long ways. Like, when it gets to the end of this guardrail, that's when we're going to start shooting the radiator. And it got there. We did. I think we shot around 15 rounds. I don't know exactly what together. Shot 15 rounds into the radiator. It's completely cleared. Like, there's no police officers behind it at the times that we were shooting that I saw. And there's plenty of room front. So we had clear shots at the radiator of the truck and the engine block. Big truck went on. It became disabled a couple miles at the 96. So we shot it at the 94. It became disabled at the 96 and stopped. And so once it stopped, the driver or the person in the truck started taking his clothes off and throwing them out the window. We could see that there was somebody in there. We could see the door opening and closing. Anyways, he was throwing clothes out of the door for at least a minimum of 15 minutes. We were on the PA trying to get him to come to us, trying to get him to get out of the truck and come to us. That never happened. We got some assets there. Destin Linkus is on the emergency response team. He's got a pepper ball gun, and so and then Mikey Brown with the sheriff's office got there with his less lethal shotgun. At the time, I didn't realize that the side windows on the truck were rolled down, so we were going to use the less lethal shotgun to bust out the window and then pepper ball inside the truck. And so we didn't have to do that, but we moved up. When I say we, it was Paul Meeks, Paul Matthews, Destin had the pepper ball gun, and then Mikey Brown had the less lethal shotgun. So we moved up on the passenger side of the truck, got at an angle to where Destin was able to shoot the pepper ball gun at the front windshield to make the balls bust to be effective, and they did. He shot several rounds through the driver's side open window, hitting the front windshield of the truck. It was effective because the guy came out of the truck on the driver's side, and he was completely naked. We tried again to communicate with him to get him to come to us. Never would do it. We didn't feel I was I was making the calls on where we position and stuff, and the guy was still close enough to the driver door that I didn't feel like it was safe enough for us to. We knew he wasn't armed, on his person, but we didn't know what was in the truck, and so we didn't want to walk up there, get on the side of the truck, and then him jump back in, and we're in a bad disadvantage. And so we did get a little bit closer to the truck and tried to talk him into coming to us. He never would. And then Mikey Brown made the decision to shoot one round of less lethal shotgun. Shot him in the abdomen with the beanbag. It was effective. The guy laid down on the ground. We were able to go over and secure him, put handcuffs on him. After that, we got him away from the scene, cleared the rest of the truck as for people, made sure there's no more people in there, and then we got out, and that was pretty much over. We got called EMS. EMS was already on standby, and they came up there and checked the person out. I don't even know his name at this point, but the driver of the truck checked him out and transported him to the hospital where he is right now.
And
that's pretty much it.
Let me just kind of go back,
Okay.
kind of touch on some things. So, Clokey, just to summarize, I guess, but Clokey's, you hear him on the radio, he's in pursuit.
Yeah.
He's in Johnson County. Because Clokey because he works for you, you're his sergeant because you're over Johnson County, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And so from there you go down to the 72,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a crossover there.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And then so you're kind of trying to box him in, which is the second time now at this point.
That's correct. Yeah.
He would have hit you at that point if you had tried to slow down, which is the boxing technique.
That's right. Yeah. He didn't check up any.
He didn't check up.
Yeah.
So you move up ahead and start staging the areas where people would do spike strips.
Right.
Now, you said Rodney McNeese, and he's with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. You had heard his vehicle got struck.
Yes.
You weren't sure if it was him or the vehicle, but
At first, no. And then he got on the radio and clarified.
and then you move on up, and Paul Meeks, who is a trooper, and Adrian Belcher, who is also a trooper, also deployed spike strips.
They did. Paul did before McNeese, and then
Okay.
after McNeese it was Belcher at
Belcher.
the 87.
And Belcher relayed that she thinks her spike strips worked on that.
Yes, yeah.
And then at that point, the vehicle was not stopping,
Right.
and so you move up ahead. She was at the 87, and you move up ahead to the 94.
Right. And to be honest, to be fair, I was already a good distance
Yeah.
ahead. I was trying to make up after the truck hit McNeese's vehicle. That's when I was like, all right, if these other two or these spikes don't work and he doesn't stop between, he was at the 83 to the 94, so it gave him 11 miles
Sure.
that he could have stopped. I was like, if it doesn't work after this, then we've got to do something different. And so from the time that I heard on the radio that McNeese's car was hit, I really moved out to get to the 94 to have enough time to set up.
Okay. And then, real quick, I know where these places are, some of them, but just to clarify, the Hobnob office, where is that exactly?
It's on Hobnob Road, which is off of Weir Road.
What town is it?
In Russellville.
In Russellville.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you get to the 94, which is
Atkins.
Where you set up, you and Destin again up on the overpass.
We were on the overpass, so that's oh goodness gracious.
Oh, 105.
Highway 105. That's
But you're at an angle, so you don't, because the truck's coming eastbound and you have
Right.
traffic going westbound, so you kind of angle yourself where your rounds aren't penetrating into the westbound.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then fire approximately 15 rounds, give or take.
Yeah.
The truck becomes disabled a couple miles later. Y'all approach the vehicle.
We tried to call him out for about
Right,
15 minutes.
for about 15 minutes. And then the people who approach the vehicle, uniformed like yourself or similar?
Most of them
Most
were.
of them. I'm just going to describe you. You've got a Arkansas State Police Class B, which is a short sleeve uniform with a badge, gun, and a name tag. So, and then your vehicle or any of the people in your vehicle, they have blue lights on?
All of them did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many, is your vehicle marked, or is any of your guys that are in that pursuit marked?
Yeah, so some of them were marked, some of them were partially marked.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when the truck becomes disabled, I assume it's facing east.
That's correct, yeah.
And you're approaching it from behind. And then Destin, when he's shooting the pepper ball rounds, is he shooting it through the passenger side window or the driver's side?
Passenger side window.
And you said it hits the windshield.
That's right.
Okay. And then the suspect comes out of the driver's side.
That's right.
Okay. And then at some point, Pope County investigator Mike Brown fires a less lethal.
Right.
Okay. And how did he get there?
So,
He was
when
part of the pursuit?
yeah, well, no, not originally. So once the driver of the truck, it's obvious after just a few minutes that he probably wasn't coming out on his own. We knew that we had the pepper ball gun. We didn't have a way other than with a regular firearm to break the glass out, because I still thought that probably both windows were up. Luckily they weren't, but I asked for a less lethal shotgun, and he heard me on the radio asking some people who's got a less lethal shotgun, because my plan was to use the less lethal shotgun to hopefully break out that side glass.
Right.
And so he heard that on the radio. So Pope County's radio and our radio were patched together, and he heard that, and he said that he had one and was bringing it.
Okay.
And so that's how he got there at that point.
Okay. And then you said you had EMS arrive,
Mm-hmm.
and did you have them staged up anywhere? Or
Yeah, they were. I think EMS was staged up in Atkins. I heard Pope County come over the radio and say that EMS was standing by.
Okay. And then when you make contact, or when the suspect comes out of the vehicle, is he communicating anything to you?
So I was kind of back at that point, just trying to make sure that there wasn't any kind of crossfire, because I had a unit with two guys directly behind the vehicle, and then I had the other guys with the pepper ball gun, less lethal, and other lethal cover in another area. So I couldn't hear anything that the suspect was saying. I know what the guys said that he said, but me personally, I didn't hear him say anything.
But your guys were giving him commands, you said, about 15 minutes. Did he ever really follow your commands?
He never followed any commands.
Never followed your commands. Okay. Why do you think he got out of the truck?
The pepper ball gun.
The
He couldn't withstand being there. And
not because he was following your commands.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty. Anything else weather conditions. What was it like out there?
Yeah, it was clear,
Okay.
clear blue skies, hot.
Hot? Okay.
Really hot. And that's probably why he rolled the windows down. I didn't think about it at the time, but
Sure.
once the vehicle became disabled, he didn't have an air conditioner.
Daytime environment.
Yeah,
Clear
daytime.
skies. Okay. Okay. Sergeant, that's probably all I got. Anything else you can think of?
No, just the most important thing is the reason that we used the force to stop the truck is because it was relevant to, or evident to us, that he didn't plan to stop. With him hitting the Pope County deputy, he showed us he didn't have regard for human life at all. And really, we were concerned. The longer these pursuits go on, the more dangerous it gets. And then you put an 80,000-pound big truck in the mix, and it gets a lot more dangerous. And for the public's safety, I felt the need that we had to do what we had to do to end it.
Johnson County tried to do a box technique with Trooper Clokey. Then you attempted also. Then, try to keep up here, but 3 attempts at spike strips.
Yes.
Strikes one officer's vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's all before he gets to you and Trooper Linkus.
Yeah,
correct?
at the 94, right.
At the 94. So, where do you know where exactly he was, Trooper Clokey, when this all kind of kicked off?
I believe he's at the 51 mile marker in
51.
Johnson County,
Okay.
on the eastbound side. He was on a traffic stop, according to him.
Okay.
What he said is he was on a traffic stop, and the big truck come by him, was originally in the left lane and moved over to the right lane as he come by Trooper Clokey, which is, I mean, I've been on the interstate for a long time now, and that's not normal. For one thing, it's against the law, which is why Clokey tried to stop him.
Sure.
But usually truck drivers are pretty attentive to getting over for us, and that was really abnormal for him to do that.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the interview. And the truck, where did it end up going? You remember?
Hodges Wrecker Service.
Hodges Wrecker
So there's a lot.
Okay. It's me in the interview. Time's going to be 3:35 p.m.